Hello everybody, welcome to the Joy of Trucking. Look outside our windshield. What is all that white fluffy stuff? I think winter has come. So let's talk to Kevin today about preparations for winter driving. And before we do that, please do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And here's Kevin to talk to us about winter.
Hi everybody.
Trucking.
It's here.
Yep.
Look at this stuff, man. So, Werner issued the fourth quarter electronic lesson plan or whatever, reminding us all about what to do in winter. Maybe some of you new drivers are a little worried about this time of year. You got some questions. You're thinking, wow, how do I move this 80,000 pounds through this kind of stuff? Okay, preparation is first. Last year there were a few bad storms, a few incidents where truckers got stuck on the highway right where they stopped and had to sit there for a few days. That happened in Texas. A guy I know sat in a truck with his trainer for 3 days, smelling each other's body odor, trying to survive. They were able to keep the truck running. That's not an issue. But suppose the truck died. You got to think of the worst case scenario and be ready for stuff like that. You want to have a lot of warm clothing. You want to have extra blankets. You want to have canned food, stuff that won't perish, that you can survive on. You want to have some extra water. Be ready for something like that. Be ready for extreme weather. It's going to happen. And I mean, this happened in Texas on I-40.
Where you're not expecting it at all.
Yeah. That was a surprise. Maybe some tools too, like you're going to want to have a brush to get the snow off everything before you get going. You want an ice scraper so you can clean off your windshield in the morning. Talked to a trucker here the other day. He's got a collapsible shovel because he's been in a situation where he had to actually dig out a snowdrift so he could get his truck through, So think about things like that. Think about the worst case scenario and be prepared for it. And you want to check the truck. You want to make sure the truck is ready too. Take a good look at your tires. I was lucky enough to get a lot of tires replaced on the truck over the summer. I got brand new steers on here. I've had several of the drive tires replaced. Look at that tread. Like they tell you, in your drive tires, you can be down to 2 seconds tread depth. Think about driving that through a foot of snow, and if you're going to have enough traction. And think about the heater. Is the heater working properly? Or you haven't turned it on in 6 months? Give it a check and make sure that thing's blowing hot air, because you're going to need it. Make sure your bunk heater's working. So if the truck is down, or if you shut the truck off for the night, you got this anti-idling thing that shuts your truck off after 5 minutes. You got to have that bunk heater working to keep you warm all night. So test it. Make sure it works before the cold weather comes. All right, be ready. Your auto start function, when you have that on the truck, what happens is it monitors the temperature inside the cab here. So if it gets really cold, the truck will automatically start up. You'd be lying in your bunk shivering and freezing to death, and the truck doesn't start, you got trouble. It will also start the truck if the batteries run low. So with your bunk heater running, there's a fan on there. It's going to use up some of your battery juice. If you got a cooler running all night, it's using up the battery. So when the battery gets low, the truck is supposed to start and then save the batteries. Also, it monitors the engine oil temperature. So if it's minus 30 or something, it'll start the truck so that the truck will be able to start under extreme conditions. If the oil is at minus 30, it's going to be too hard for the truck to turn over and the truck won't start. Now you're sitting here in minus 30 with no heat, no battery. You're in big trouble. So make sure your auto start function works. Test it out. Another thing to think about is your ABS system. All right, when you start up the truck, you turn it on, you see that, make sure your ABS light comes on. And what'll happen is when you're driving, you hit the brakes. If you're on ice or something like that, the wheels lock, you've lost control. All right, so if the ABS is not working, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. The ABS will prevent your tires from locking up or stopping and sliding across slippery surfaces. It'll keep those wheels turning so you still have enough control to maneuver. You have an ABS light on the trailer, and you'll see it in your mirror. If there's a little yellow light on at the very back of the trailer, that means the ABS brakes are not working on the trailer. You hit the brakes hard and the wheels lock on the trailer might start swinging around and you're in a jackknife situation. So watch for that little yellow light. Make sure your ABS brakes are working on your trailer as well. Another thing to do is just to be mentally prepared for this. When I was growing up in Canada, every year, every single year, the first snow of the winter, there were accidents everywhere. Every intersection, some guy hit the brakes and just kept on going and hit somebody. Or somebody was going around a curve and just slid right off the road because people are not used to the slippery conditions. They've been driving like Mario Andretti all summer long, and now the road's got ice and snow on it, and people don't think, I better slow down. I can't stop as easily. You got to be mentally prepared. When you see it snowing like this, you can no longer go racing down the highway at top speed. Give yourself more distance to stop. Give yourself more judgment time to assess situations as they're coming up, so you don't just plow into something that's unfolding in front of you and you react too late. And you want to think about the conditions. From one day to another, it'll change. You'll see a layer of snow on the road and you don't know what's underneath that snow. Maybe there's an inch of ice and you're on a skating rink and you don't even know it. Maybe there's a layer of snow in this parking lot and it's hiding a patch of mud or grass or something, and you just gently roll over that and suddenly you sink and now you're stuck. You need a tow truck. So yeah, be mentally prepared for the conditions because it's getting bad out here. Visibility is another problem too. You can't see as far when it's blowing snow like this, right? And maybe somebody up ahead of you forgot to turn his lights on, so you're going to come up on somebody really fast and suddenly they'll appear out of the snow, and then you've cut down your reaction time there. So go slower, take visibility into consideration, take the road conditions and the weather into consideration. Take the weather more seriously when you're trip planning. If you're driving, you're picking up a load in Florida and you're going to Tennessee or Minnesota or something like that, take a good look at that weather over the next couple of days and monitor it. You take a break after 4 hours or 5 hours, check the weather again because it changes fast in some areas. Keep weather in mind at all times now. A couple of things too about the truck that people aren't aware of. Maybe you didn't sit down and read your entire owner's manual for your truck when you got it. Maybe you did and now it's a year later and you've forgotten a lot of the stuff. You have some things on the truck to help you in situations like this. You look down here, there's a TC button. This is a Kenworth T680, but you'll see that most trucks, most vehicles on the road, cars included, have some kind of traction control now, where there's a computer on board that's monitoring your wheels. And if one of them starts to spin like crazy, the computer realizes you have a bad traction situation. You're trying to get moving and you're on ice, and all the power from the engine goes to one tire, and that tire is on ice, and it's going to sit there and spin and you're not going anywhere. So on this truck, the traction control system will see that one tire is spinning and start to regulate the torque to the other tires to get you moving. It can do that by applying the brakes to that tire, slowing that tire down. So if you have that system on too long, it'll actually start to wear things out. So it's only to get you out of trouble. And there will be an indicator light coming on the dashboard telling you that the system is doing something. When you start up your truck, that light should flash, showing that the light works and that the system is functioning. If the light is flashing and it's not being used, you got a problem with that system. Get it checked. You have a switch here so you can actually engage that traction control system if the truck hasn't realized you're in a bad spot. Like if I'm trying to move, I've got a load, my tire's spinning and I'm not going anywhere, I'll flip that switch up and it will engage the traction control system and slow that tire down and try to transfer power to the other tires. The other important switch over here is your interaxle differential lock. See, it looks like the tires or the wheels of the truck, there's an X there, there's a lock, okay? Symbolically, that's saying you're locking something in your drivetrain. So what is going on here in this truck is, as you're driving, the power is, you've got tandem axles, drive axles. You've got a front axle and a rear axle behind you here. And most of the power goes to the front axle. And because it's a differential, most of the power will only go to one side. So if you're in a situation where you're on ice, I had a situation this summer that was kind of funny. I was backing into somebody's driveway for my reset, and the one wheel lost contact with the ground. And I just sat there. I'm like, there's no ice. I'm not, you know, is there something, a tree fell on me or what's going on here? That tire was spinning and I wasn't moving. And I hit that switch, and what it did was send power to the other axle. So now I'm in like four-wheel drive mode. I've got two sets of axles with power, and the other axle had traction and got me moving over that one spot where that wheel was off the ground. So think about that. If you're sitting here and you're on ice, you know, you're in deep snow or something like that, you're stuck. The tire, all the power of the engine's going to one tire and it's just spinning. So if you flip that switch, you're sending power to other tires that might have more traction, and that'll get you going. So there's two handy little things that you can try the next time you're stuck. Think about that. Your traction control switch and your inter-axle differential lock will give you more traction on your drive wheels. And while we're talking about traction on drive wheels, think about bobtailing. Seriously, the truck is designed to carry a lot of weight. What happens when it's not carrying any weight? You've got 10 wheels, 10 tires on the ground on the tractor. It's designed to have like 20,000 pounds sitting on the back of the truck, and that gives it a ton of traction. All those tires are biting in really good. With that weight gone, it's like you're gonna float. You're gonna just slide over top of stuff. You'll go over things instead of contacting the ground and having good traction so that you have control. And so when you're bobtailing, you may find that you spin those tires a lot more because they don't have traction. You may find that when you want to turn, your front tires don't grip and you just keep going straight instead of turning. You may find when you hit the brakes, you're suddenly sliding sideways and going for the ditch because you don't have the traction on your vehicle. So keep that in mind when you're driving. There's no button you can push that'll fix that. So you've got to have it up here. All right, very serious talk. I know I'm getting a little carried away here, so let's just enjoy the winter, enjoy the white beauty of it all, but keep your safety in mind, okay?
Yeah.
That's number one.
And I think we'll do another one where we actually talk about chains, because you haven't even brought that up yet, but
yeah.
I think that's enough for one video. So we hope that you got some value from this.
Yeah, chains are important. If you're traveling in areas where you have to chain up, it's a law, you better start carrying them. You better get them on the truck. And Werner has chain banks where you can pick them up, and what they're telling me is that you as you're approaching an area, there's a chain bank where you can pick them up, and then after you've gone through the area, you can turn them back in. Some guys buy chains and keep them on the truck full time. Yeah. So that's something to think about if you're commonly driving in areas that require chains.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point, Tanya.
Glad you added that in at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, hey, if you got value from this, which we really hope you did, because if it's your first year and you're starting to encounter winter driving, it could feel a little scary. So you know, we hope that this helps you out. So give it a thumbs up if it did, and you can put comments and questions below, and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to keep coming along with us no matter the weather. And that's it for now. Have a great day. With love from Kevin and Tanya. Bye.